Hi everybody, it's Dan and welcome back to the Rock Nerd Radio Show here on YouTube. If you have been sticking with me for the past 2 weeks, you know that I have been leading up to getting this entire Blackheart Build-A-Figure together. And today, we're going to take a look at this Build-A-Figure, and we're also going to rank all of these figures in the wave from my personal least favorite to my personal most favorite. So let's get into it today on the Rock Nerd Radio Show. So we're going to start this video by taking a quick look at Blackheart, who does command quite a bit of shelf presence because he's got this big old tail. Now, look, only 6 of the figures in this wave have Build-A-Figure pieces, so if you're trying to get this guy, you are going to have to spend about, $150. If you get him loose, you might be able to find him for cheaper. But let's look at the detail of this figure. We're going to bring his head in real close to the camera here. And you can see that the eyes are painted this nice deep red while these, I don't know, demonic whiskers, hair, whatever it is coming off his head. It does look very cool. These tendrils, they kind of, slope onto his back. It is definitely like a hairstyle to me, but it looks very neat, and there's even shades of like purple and black on there. You can kind of see, especially like right here by my finger, the purple and the black kind of mixing and just, looking really cool on the figure. In terms of the body, we do have little spikes all over him, and if you're trying to force pieces onto this Build-A-Figure, just know you might kind of, end up grabbing these spikes, and they don't exactly feel great to grab. But the rest of the figure is, a very kind of black-looking demon. It's this black paint. There are some mixes of other colors in here, but mostly just at the head. The rest is pretty much just this black shade. It does look really cool, and of course, looking at the legs, we got spikes again, bringing us down to our feet, which are, slightly elevated and angled. That's going to come into play later. And just looking at his hands, he only has 4 fingers on his hands, just so you are aware. In terms of articulation on this Build-A-Figure, the head is on a dumbbell joint, so you can get it to move around and look around, but you can get a little bit of down, not a whole lot of up, and yeah, that's really all I can get the head to do. In terms of the arms, we do have butterfly joints, so they can move forward and they can move back, which looks pretty good. The arms themselves are going to be able to twist around. Now, I did mention when I was connecting the arms that the peg felt like it was going to shear right off of the plastic, and unfortunately that hasn't felt much better while I've been doing this. The plastic does get a little clicky, so it is going to land in certain spots, like, here or here. But I still am worried about moving this around a lot. Of course, the arms otherwise are going to go out. The little spikes on the shoulders might get in the way a little bit, but for the most part, you can really get his arms to stretch out nicely, and then just bring them back down. There is rotation right there at the bicep. We do have double jointed elbows, and then these hands which can spin and will be moving in and out. There's another set of hands too. We'll look at them in just a moment. In terms of the body, I am impressed with the body construction because he has that, midsection joint here. I guess that's that dumbbell or inverted ball joint, whatever they call it. But he also has crunch at the stomach. So it's not ab crunch, it's like the stomach crunch. Kind of like what the Renew Your Vows Spider-Man has. He doesn't have any cut down here though, so he can't twist. So any kind of twisting is going to happen up here. But again, that plastic feels very gummy, and I'm afraid to twist him too much because I don't want to snap any pegs, right out of the figure. Looking at the legs, we're not going to get any back movement, but we will get forward movement with them, and we will get some pretty nice outward movement. He can get a pretty deep split going there. Of course, we have rotation there at the thigh. We have a double jointed knee, just like that. And he can kick his own butt if he needs to. No boot cut or anything, but then at the foot, we do have a disc with a forward-facing pin, so you can get the foot to move around quite a bit. Only issue is standing like this. If you try to do ankle pivot, you're just kind of turning the foot. If you want more of an ankle pivot, you got to click it into a different position, and then you can get some more pivot. It's weird the way that it works, but it still does work. Now, I did mention his tail. His tail, as you can kind of see, maybe, is a bendy wire. There are those holes that has like the bendy wire stuff. So you can get the tail to bend. I've been able to get the tail to bend really just about there. I can't get this part to bend anymore, which is kind of impeding the way that I can display him, because he is going to need some real estate. As you can see, the tail goes out like the length of another figure. So I'm trying to find a way to position this tail so that I can have him stand, like I'm going to say, with the tail around him, and also maybe help support him, because right now he doesn't do a great job standing. That tail definitely weighs him down. So unless you want him standing like this, you might have to kind of bend him at the knees, kind of make it look like he's like about to lunge at something, and again, you might have to bend the feet in while you're doing this. So he kind of has like that tail helping him stand. This isn't the best pose, but it is something you could do. I also, like just for now, I have the back of the tail up against the soda machine, so that's kind of helping him stand. If you have something in the back of your display that you can bounce him on like that, that might work too. Your mileage is going to vary, of course. I did mention that he has some accessories though, and those are swappable hands. So for his right hand, we have a fist, and for his left hand, we have kind of like a beckoning magic hand. So it's not just open. I kind of like the way that one looks. So if you want to swap the pieces out, of course, you just pull the hands off, stick the hands on. And I think I'm going to stick with this hand, because it kind of looks like it's almost taunting, almost like a foreboding kind of hand, like he's summoning or something. So I do like that. I think it looks very neat. Overall, he's not a bad Build-A-Figure. I don't know if he's been the best one I've handled this year, but he's not bad. But now that we've looked at Blackheart, I think it is time to rank the figures in this wave from my least favorite to my most favorite. This might not come as a shock to anybody, but my least favorite figure in this wave is Bloodstorm. Listen, her plastic has seemingly firmed up a little bit. I guess it was hotter than I realized when I brought her inside. And took her out of the package. The legs are still, the knees especially, are still a little gummy, but she is standing better. But the reason why this is my least favorite, it's nothing against the character, it's just, I don't have any other Mutant X figures, and so I don't know who I'm going to display her with, I could stick her on my X-Men shelf. I believe there was a time where she was running around with the all-new X-Men, if I recall, but I wasn't asking for this, and like I said in my review of her, I'll probably keep her around in case they do more Mutant X characters, and I can then stick her with them, or maybe I could put her in a more modern X-Men display, since she kind of did show up in the, I think it was Bendis' all-new X-Men. So, I definitely have some options, but I wasn't really asking for her, so we're gonna put her over here. As I said, she is my least favorite from the wave, but my next one would be Moon Knight, and it's just because I kind of feel like I have my fill of Moon Knight figures. I have the Walgreens Moon Knight, which they later recently put out on a vintage card. I had the Vulture from No Way Home, or whatever the first Spider-Man movie was. Like that Build-A-Figure. I have that Moon Knight. I even have the Mr. Knight Moon Knight from the live-action show, because that kind of passes off as a comic Moon Knight. And this wasn't a look I was really asking for. And in terms of a wave of horror characters, I felt his spot could have gone to someone better. Maybe another Ghost Rider type villain, maybe another Ghost Rider type hero. Maybe want to give us a human Johnny Blaze as he appeared in the 90s. I feel like that could have been better served than this Moon Knight. But what I mentioned I might even do is kind of pop this cape off and put it on the Walgreens one, and just kind of make my preferred, or a better looking Moon Knight. So yeah, because I don't really know where I would stick him on my shelf. I don't really have much of an Avengers West Coast display going on anymore. So I don't really know where I'd stick that Moon Knight. Coming in after that is going to be, I think, Brother Voodoo. Like I had mentioned, Brother Voodoo is a cool character. This figure looks cool, but I had already sold off my Brother Voodoo figures. and I wasn't clamoring for another one on an updated Buck. So, even though he's cool, even though he looks neat, this is just another one that I kind of feel like I didn't really need. So yeah, he would be there. Next, though, in the wave is going to be the Weapon of Vengeance, or the Helverine. This is cool, and we're getting more now towards characters who I'm glad we got. I just don't know if we needed this. I feel like, having gotten this is neat, but like, we still have the big bulky pegs that you can see on his arms. You can still see the pegs on his legs. It's neat, but I really feel like this would have been better done if you gave it an updated body. We are getting updated Wolverine bodies. This probably would have been the perfect time to kind of use one of those updated Bucks for this figure. This kind of feels like a cheap reuse with just a couple new parts. I really do love the claws, and I like the head. I feel like this could have been done better on a newer body style. Coming in after that is actually going to be Lilith. And I like Lilith. I'm glad we got her. Like I kind of mentioned in my review, I never thought we'd see this character in plastic form. She feels a little boring to me, and some people have pointed it out. I've seen it online. Some people have said that like some of the paint apps, especially around these fishnets, get a little dicey. You can see it on mine a little bit. It's not terrible, and if someone's wearing fishnets, like, they're gonna bunch up and stuff, so I kind of can forgive them for that. I'm very happy we got this figure. And I don't know, it's more just that we got the character, which is giving it a cool factor. I don't think it was like necessary. I'm glad I have it. Coming in next, though, is going to be the Build-A-Figure itself. So Blackheart. I can't give Blackheart a higher spot than the third spot here, just because of the quality of the plastic, like I've been saying. I am worried about these arm joints, namely. They kind of feel like they might snap off if I move them around too much. That peg feels like it's sticking in there, and it makes me worried that one day, if I'm just posting it for a photo or something, the arms are going to snap off. And when it's a Build-A-Figure, it's not necessarily an easily replaced figure. You might have to buy new parts. You can't just necessarily buy a whole new Build-A-Figure. I mean, you can, but it's going to cost you. And if like a peg breaks inside of his joint, then I might have to do a little surgery just to get it out, and then find another arm and things like that. So a little disappointed by the quality of it. I think he looks great, and for the most part, he's going to just be standing on my shelf. But that quality is what's really knocking him down a few pegs. The number 2 spot goes to Hellstrom. I'm happy we got this figure. Is it a needed addition to my shelf? I don't know if he's needed, but I'm very happy with him. I think he looks cool. I think he feels pretty good in hand. In a wave that I've kind of been complaining about the plastic quality, he does feel pretty good. Like I said, the only thing I think he could have done better, or they could have done better, is, really making that pentagram on his chest pop. Maybe adding, some tattered and torn detail to his pants. But for the most part, pretty solid figure. Probably one of the few that I felt I really, really needed in this wave. Which leads me to my number 1 most wanted figure in this wave, or my favorite figure in this wave, and it would be Dracula. I've become such a big fan of this figure. I think it looks great. I think it moves great. It might have some older style joints, especially, here on the arms only being single jointed. But, it works with the sculpt very well. I love the way the gloves work, and his armor, just being overlays, which armor would be. I love the way he can hold the sword. I love the posability, and even the cape. I don't think I mentioned it in my review. You can kind of flip the cape around to get it to be somewhat dynamic, which I think is neat. It doesn't just have to lay there. I think my fascination with Dracula is kind of increased a little bit too since watching the Sovereign of the Damned movie anime from the 80s, which I talk about on my radio show. So there we go. That is how I rank this wave from my least favorite to my favorite. And it might just be my own collecting, and as I'm getting older, part of me really feels like I didn't need everybody from this wave now that I have it in hand. Look, I wanted the Build-A-Figure. Ultimately, that's what it came down to. That's why I bought everybody. but really 3, maybe 4 of the single carded characters, not counting the Build-A-Figure, were things I wanted on my shelf. There are definitely a few here I just don't know where I'm going to put, if I even put them out on my shelf at all. So there we go. I would love to know your ranking of the wave. If you have a particular favorite or least favorite, you can always let me know down in the comments below. I would love to hear it. And until next time, I'll catch you around. Hey, thanks for checking out this video. I really appreciate it. If you want to leave a like or a comment, down below underneath this video, it goes a long way to help out the channel. You know what also helps? Subscribing. That goes a long, long way. So I would really appreciate if you subscribe to the channel. You can also check out the Rock Nerd Radio Show podcast on your preferred podcast platform. It is a weekly podcast hosted by myself and my good friend Vinny. Together we discuss all different types of pop culture, whether it be comics, music, TV shows, movies, or collectibles. So check that out, once again, wherever you're going to get your podcasts. And you can also follow the Rock Nerd Radio Show on Instagram. That is the best place to interact with me. I would love it if you gave it a follow. So thanks for checking out this video. Until next time, I've been Dan. You've been pretty awesome, and I'll see you around.